All right, hi guys, welcome back. So here we are going to put a list of related opportunities on an account page with an aura component. So this is what the component is going to look like. And don't worry, I'll share all the code for this project in GitHub. So if you want to try it out yourself for practice, you can, and the link to the code is going to be in the description. So personally, I like to break it up into 4 steps. So first, we're going to make a Apex controller class that has the blueprints to query the opportunities that are related to the account that you need for the chart. So first, we're going to go to the developer console. And to make this Apex controller class, I'm going to delete these. We're going to do File, New. We're going to do Apex class here. And we're going to name this my opportunity list controller. So this is what we start out with, and here is what I'm going to have for the file. So basically, I'll show you exactly what I added and why. So basically, this Aura enabled here allows the Aura component to access this. And then here, we make a list, an opportunity list with the get opportunities method. And we're basically querying the ID, the name, the amount, and the close date from the opportunity. And this is important here. So the where account ID and this record ID here is important because it's basically ensuring that only the opportunities related to the record ID are going to be retrieved. So this record ID is going to be specified in another file, which you'll see soon, and it's going to be specific to the record ID of the account page that the component is on. So if I minimize this, it's going to be the record ID is going to be specific to this University of Arizona account, and it's going to only get the opportunities that are related to this specific account. And this component is going to go on the record page. So any account you open is going to show this, and it's also going to be able to show the related opportunities. So just to clarify, this component is going to get the related opportunities from whatever account it's on. So of course, this is the University of Arizona, and these are the related accounts, related opportunities for this account. But if we go to a different account, like United Oil and Gas Corporation, it's going to get those specific related opportunities. So now for step 2. So for step 2, we're going to actually make the component, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to do File, New, Lightning Component. We're going to name it My Opportunity List. And we're going to select, we want this to be on a Lightning record page. That's what it's on. So basically in this CMP file that we just made, we're going to add code that references the class that we just made here. So in this file, it's going to reference this My Opportunity List controller. And since this component's going on the account's record page, because of how our components work, we need to store the ID and the account fields into attributes. And in this file, we'll also make the title of the chart with the account's name field that we get from the attribute. So I'll show you the code and I'll explain it. So basically, this is what we start off with. And I'm going to paste the code. And the attributes and things like that are going to go here. And another bit of code is going to go right after this component that says controller equals My Opportunity List controller, and that is to reference this My Opportunity List controller. So here I'm going to paste the code and see here is what we inserted for the first line, which is specifying the controller, specifying the class, and here are the attributes I was talking about. So basically an R attribute is what we use to store the data that we need within an R component. So very importantly, we're going to use something called force record data that represents the Lightning data service, which is what is actually retrieving and storing the fields of, and this part is especially important, the record ID of the account page that this component is going to be placed on. along with the specific accounts fields, and storing them into the respective attributes above. So since we're getting the record ID and the fields, and we need the fields because we need the account name for the title of this chart, and we need the record ID stored so that when we actually get the records from the query here, it will be linked to the record ID attribute so that only the opportunity records related to this account are going to be retrieved by the query. Now, for the opportunities and columns attribute that we see here, we're going to eventually go to the JS file that we make. We're going to make a JavaScript file, which is a controller file. And we're going to make assignments for what these attributes should hold. And I'll show this later in the video. So here is the code for the title of the chart. And basically the Lightning framework has UI building blocks, which we call base Lightning components. So this Lightning card is one of them that is used for displaying data. And see how we're pulling the account name. This is the syntax to get the account name from this attribute here. So we're getting the account information, we're storing it in this attribute, and now we're calling upon that attribute, and we're getting the name from it. All right, so for step 3, we will make the JavaScript file that I mentioned, and in here, we're going to make an action function with blueprints to execute the getOpportunities method here. And then we're going to add an event handler that calls this action to basically enact the blueprints. So to make this, we need to make a controller file, so the JS file. So basically we just click this button here. And then I'm going to paste the code that we need and explain exactly what it does. So here I will paste it. So here are the blueprints to call the Apex controller method. So basically the component.get right here is invoking the getOpportunities method from here. That's the blueprints to do that. And we can also specify a certain parameter for this method. So we want to set the parameter to be the v.recordID. And this basically means that for this value here, for the record ID that we are going to pass, so the opportunities are going to have the IDs being this record ID. And if you remember from here, this record ID is going to come from here, which has the information from this force record data, which is getting the record ID of the page that the component is on. So long story short, the record ID of the page the component is on is going to be in this record ID, and we are basically going to pass that as a parameter for this method, for this getOpportunities method. And we do that here in the JavaScript file. And this basically just ensures that the opportunities that we're getting are related to the account of the account record page that the component is on. And also, remember how we were wondering when this opportunities attribute here and the columns attribute, do you remember when we were wondering when those were going to get populated? So this code here populates the opportunity attribute with the results of the query. So the results of getting those opportunity records that are related to that specific record page's account ID. It gets the results of the query, and it's basically going to be put into the opportunities attribute. And we're going to call upon this when we're making the table. So for now, we need to add the handler markup in the CMP file below the attributes. So we're going to add some code in between, so after this last attribute and before here, so that this JavaScript action, so that this works. So I'm going to paste the code here. So basically the handler is listening for a specific event, and it executes the action attributes function that is specified here in this JavaScript file. So there's a quote from Salesforce Trailhead that says, the name attribute identifies the event, in this case init, which is here, which is the event that fires as the component is loaded onto the page. And then here the action is showing the action from the JavaScript file. So right here we have this c.myAction that's referring to this my action right here. So it's calling this and it's listening for it. So now for step 4, we're just going to add in the JS file what's supposed to go into the columns attribute. So we're going to be referencing what's in the columns attribute and in the opportunity attribute in the data table that we make. So here we are in the JavaScript file, and we're going to put this columns attribute code right above the var action code, this line. So this CMP file code here knows what to display in the columns. So here I'll paste it. So now that we have what's supposed to go in the columns attribute, this is basically just saying that the data table is going to consist of the name, and this is the API name right here. So this is what we want it to be called, these three, and then these are what they actually should be called. Like if you check, so all I'm doing is going to Object Manager, Setup, and I'm just going to go to Opportunity. Basically, if you want to see what you're supposed to do for close date, because that's one of the things that we want to have on the chart, go to Fields and Relationships, and close date is what the label is, but this is what we need to put here, which is right here, and the type is date, which we can find here, the data type here. So the next step is we're going to add a Lightning data table component whose purpose is to display the list of opportunities, to actually display it. So in this CMP file, at the end of the Lightning card title code, and after this this comment here, this is how you this is the syntax for writing a comment. This is where we're going to add the database code to show the list, which I'll paste here. So I'm just going to paste this. And as you can see, this data table component here is going to get the information from the opportunities attribute and the columns attribute. So, and then this should be it for the code. So now let's go see if it works. So I'm on the record page, and now all I'm going to do is go to Setup, Edit Page. So pick an account of your choosing, and then just do Edit Page. If you scroll down here, my opportunity list 1 is what's already there. And you can see that by, let's exit out of here. If you click on here, this is the component that's there. It says my opportunity list 1. So now I'm just going to add my opportunity list, which is the one we just made, right above it, and it should say the exact same thing. So if I save this, and of course activate it, you can make it the default for, of course, org for the app, or for app record type and profile. So we're just going to keep it the default for the org for in this case. Click save, and we're just going to click back. And it wasn't showing up at first. I just had to wait and refresh the page, and now, as you can see, here it is in all its glory. So we can click here again and see that this is from the My Opportunity list. So again, I'll paste the code for each file in the description of this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you were able to learn something here, and have a great day.